Hey, what's up, everybody? What I'd like to discuss today is a limiting belief that I feel like can be a big block to our creativity. This one gets so baked in that it's really insidious. A lot of times our heroes give this to us in a good-hearted and good-natured way that belies the toxicity of this kind of thinking. I'm Reed Robbins, and on this channel we discuss all matters music. Sometimes, though, that veers into the category of life lessons, and here's one that I wish I had known earlier. I'd like to save you from this kind of thinking. What is that thought? You were either born with it or you weren't. In other words, something can't be learned. This type of thinking is bullshit. You know, this bullshit often comes from the best people. Kind people, supportive people, talented people. The reason why I was inspired to make this video is because I was reading an article with a guitar player, big hero of mine, amazing player, and he's talking about being in a session with someone else and how that someone else was able to swing in the style of the music that they were playing, and that how great that was and how you can't be taught that you're only born with it. This is the you were born with it or not fallacy. So to consider this notion, think of a human infant. They know nothing. Nothing. They can't feed themselves. They can't walk for over a year. They can't talk for at least that long. They know nothing. This is an aberration in the animal kingdom. Human beings are far slower to develop than other animals. Take a deer, for example. The deer comes out, in a few minutes it can stand up. In a few hours, it can walk. Within a few days, it can run around. Okay, so the mother still has to take care of it, bring it food, etc. But compared to a deer's ultimate potential, it's really pretty much there, way quicker than a human being might be. How is it that these nascent human beings who have just come out of the womb know how to swing? They don't. They just know how to poop and cry. That's it. They don't know how to swing. Okay, so is this trope holding you back from learning things, doing things that you deeply want to do or learn? Do people learn at different rates and speeds? Of course. On the other hand, the more gifted of us generally tend to be the ones who work harder. Does Jacob Collier actually play and sing all the time? You bet he does. That's how he got so good. If anything, his talent is not being saddled with a bunch of limiting beliefs. Many of you are familiar with the name Malcolm Gladwell. One of his books he's known for is called Outliers, and in Outliers, he posits the 10,000 hour rule. In his telling, it takes 10,000 hours work at any endeavor to get to the point to where you can master it to a level that you would be considered an expert. To me, this is the explanation. What it has to do with is the constant study of something. That's how you learn it. If you practice swinging for 10,000 hours, you'll be able to do it. So for a lot of us, that's really good news. This is definitely true with me. I've gotten pretty good at some things. I can play the piano well, I can play the guitar well, record things well. I know a lot about composition. I wasn't good at any of those things when I started. I had to struggle to learn how to play the guitar. I can still remember it even though I was 8. This is the reality. This reminds me when I was starting out as a studio guy. I was always getting some form of the you're either born with it or you're not spiel. And that comes in many forms. It could be like, you don't have the right equipment. You don't have a $1 million mixer. You don't have a huge mic locker. You don't know the right people. You didn't learn from so-and-so. That ship has sailed. All that sort of stuff. It's debilitating. And people mean well. They're not evil. They're not trying to be mean to you. People will always tell you this, And sometimes it comes from different places. It can come from an air of superiority. It can come from a well-meaning place. You have a friend who says, oh man, that sounded so great what you just played. You can't teach that. Well, that's a nice compliment, but it's not true. What they're saying is that you've learned it and you can now do it. Some people give you this to try and keep you out of their lane. Like if they don't want you as their competition, then they would say, oh, well, you know, you're either born with it or not. But it's just not true. And I do not want this for you. You have to work hard, but you can get there pretty much with anything. For myself, I have struggled quite a bit with all these things, as I have said. And now my newest struggle is with video. I don't know if you noticed, but this video is very hard for me. And the fact that we're sitting here in the darkness now is because I've been going at it so long that, you know, this is what I'm putting you through. But if you've made it to the end of this video, then you, like me, are in the place you need to be.